Okay, here's a good question. You're asked to take this data and from it form a linear function. And then based on that linear function, extrapolate and find some information about another year. Okay, so you can use a graphing calculator to do it, or you can use Desmos. I find Desmos just quite a bit faster. So in Desmos, like you can see here, you click on this plus sign. That plus sign, and then say you want to create a table, and then type in all the data. So instead of typing 2009, I'm just going to put 0 because that's when it starts. 294. I'll pause and type all the numbers in. Okay, I got all the numbers in. So now what you want to do is tell Desmos to put some numbers in there. Notice you can't see any of the stuff on the graph. But if you sort of shrink your graph a bit, there, you can start seeing the numbers. And they sort of look like they're following a straight line. Like that first dot seemed to be a little out, but it's pretty close. Okay, so now in Desmos, what you do is down on the second line, you write and tell Desmos to look at the data and from it determine a linear function. And to do that, we type a y. And then when you look up top there, it's y1. So I have to reference the data with a y1. And then you use a funny symbol called a tilde. And I think if you hit ABC, the tilde is right close to the enter sign, right over there. There's a tilde. So y1 is approximately equal to. And then I want to do m for slope, because this is a linear function. In quadratic ones, we use a different one. So the m, and then x, and again we're referencing the data above, so I have to use x1, plus b, the y-intercept. Okay, so what Desmos does is it tries or attempts to put a straight line that sort of is an average of all of those dots there. So we're trying to model the data with this linear function. No, nice thing that Desmos does is down below here, it tells you what that data is. So I'm not sure what they want you to round it, but if I'm writing the general linear equation, it's y equals mx plus b, and they tell me what the m should be, 19.97. Again, I'm not sure what they want you to round that to. Plus, the y-intercept, or b, is 303. Again, I'm going to round it to 2 decimal places, but you want to do what they tell you to do. So there would be my linear function that would approximate that data. Now, another thing they ask is they say, well, what do you think it would be in 2017? So if I put 2015, 2016, 2017, so this would be the 6th, 7th, this would be the 8th. So what I could do then is just plug an 8 in wherever I see an x into the equation. So it would be 19.97 times 8 plus 303.91 and figure out what that comes out to. So you can do that. Another thing you can do is in Desmos, you can write that equation. So if you want to know what y is when x is equal to 8, you type that in, and then in Desmos you just tap there. So if the linear function continues on through that 8th year, it would be 463.676. So let me write that down. So y would be 463.676 when x is 8. Another question they ask is what is the correlation coefficient? And the correlation coefficient, what it refers to is how close did this line that it drew approximate all the dots. Now, if the dots are fairly close, then if they're bang on the line, your correlation coefficient would be equal to 1. If your data is all, let me do a different color. If your data is all over the place, and they put a line, it's pretty hard to say that that's really correlated. So if it's not correlated, the worst would be 0, the best would be 1. And your correlation coefficient is right there. So Desmos tells that to you. Okay, hopefully that helps you with that question. I think you had another question too that was similar where you had to enter data and from it get some information. Maybe one thing I'll do with this one too. So this is average monthly cost to workers for family health insurance and a year. So what I could ask another question, and I didn't. Hopefully I can do this with this one. I could ask another question, so I could say, well, what is the health insurance going to be after 8 years? But I could say, after how long until it gets to 500 years or 600 years? Why don't we use 600? Whoops. So in Desmos, what I do is I can draw a line at 600. So instead of x is equal to 8 down here, I could write, say, y is equal to, let's go 600. So there's 600, and again, if I tap on that point, it's going to take 14.8 years before that family health insurance gets up to 600. All right, hopefully that helps you with that type of question. And you can ask me in class too if you need help on some others. We'll do lots more of these in quadratic functions and others.